Hey, True Believers, England Teen here with another batch of new comic book reviews. 5 of them, as a matter of fact. I think this time around 3DC. I forgot what I put over here. I think Morbius, though, from Marvel is one of them. And Green Lantern, of course, because that's a thumbnail. I'll probably put them up on the thumbnail so you know what we're getting. So anyway, kick back, relax, let's get this party started. Okay, gang, let's begin this particular review of the Green Lantern with a cover and ask, who's this for? Seriously. Any adult gonna look at this and go, oh my gosh, it's Teen Lantern reaming out a Guardian. I should get that right away. Seriously, who was this cover made for? Okay, maybe the teenagers. But my gosh, I just can't I can't buy it. I cannot buy it. I did buy it, so all right, let's get through this review here before Twiddles loses his mind over here. He's always cheaping, thinking I'm talking to him. Here's the thing. This is actually not a bad issue when it's focusing on the Green Lanterns. When it's Baez, when it's John Stewart, there's a Thanagarian here that shows up. All of this story going on right here where they're talking about whether or not to allow Oa into the United Planets, that's actually pretty good. I mean, it does kind of scream a little bit of Phantom Menace with all the behind-the-scenes trade thing. This book only really derails when they decide to get that little teenage girl involved. It's ridiculous then, because she's going off not as somebody like, oh my gosh, it's wondrous and surprising, and isn't it really cool that that I get to do all this no, it's more like, hey, I was in Gym World, so you gotta bow to me. Okay, let me cover up the bird here and I'll be right back. Alrighty, I shut up the bird, but I also turn on the air conditioning, so I hope that doesn't bother you. But it really is. She is, how can I put this? I did not know that Brian Michael Bendis could write a worse character than Riri Williams, but here you go. A more insufferable, more entitled character than Riri Williams ever was. And I wasn't a fan of Brian Michael Bendis' version of Riri Williams. A little bit of Evan, but I digress. This book is not served by having that character in there. It really isn't. It's actually damaged by having her in there. Otherwise, it's actually pretty cool. It's actually a decent book. There is one thing, though. Not a big fan of the put down of the Guardians. They've been built up, or at least they used to be built up as being actually powerful. And it seems like they're just old people, old little blue people in suits now. And it's just one of those things where they want to show how powerful a villain is, so they knock out the Guardians to the point where the Guardians don't matter anymore in lore. And that's the way it comes off. Overall, can I recommend this? Absolutely not. Wish I could. I can't. But that's just, in my opinion, one more DC comic book that after Future State proved it ain't worth anything anymore. Okay, gang, next is The Last Ronin, issue number 2. And starting off with the cover, this is just pure badassery. It really is. You got Raphael running through a whole bunch of the Foot Clan. And you know what? This actually happens in the book, too, gang. Great photo, well, great picture, I should say, and yeah, I like the cover. I dig this one. This is not the cover I got, though. I got cover B with just the Psy on it. Here you go, story by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird and Tom Waltz, man. But then again, you already knew that. I don't think that needed to be said, so let's get to the story. The Last Ronin Part 2, The First to Fall. Gee, I wonder who it is. Could it be the person on the cover? That in all honesty, I didn't even think about it when I first read it. I was like, oh wow, I wonder who it is. And then I was like, wait a second, hold on, he's actually on the cover there. Of course he's going to be the first to fall here, which is kind of sad because now whatever turtle they put on the cover, or in the cover B case, whatever weapon, you're going to know that's how they die, so, or that's the issue they die in. So a little bit of spoilery there. That being said, holy Toledo, guys. Okay, first of all, yes, they got to get rid of got to get rid of Splinter in order for the rest of the turtles to fall. That just has to happen. So Splinter gets attacked, and Raphael decides he's going to go and fight the entire Foot Clan out of sheer vengeance. Anyway, And the story is so freaking good. April's given some depth. Now, mind you, I'm not a huge Turtles fan. I don't read the book every week. But this is the kind of thing that makes me want to, just to get into the lore a little bit more. The whole argument about doing nothing versus doing something, waiting for your moment to strike versus striking now when the irons are hot, or when they're hot-headed in this case. That's going on. Could something more have been done to save the rest of the Turtles? That's the central theme of this, dealing with the failures of your past to execute a more promising futures. It's just told so well, and as you can tell as the pictures go by, the art is just spot on. As a turtle fan from the sidelines, I guess, I gotta say this is an incredible, one of the best books on the shelf. I can only imagine that if you're an actual turtle fan, this is just amazing. Okay, so we've got a small problem here talking about the Swamp Thing. Talking about the cover, though, while I like it because I know what's going on here, I think it might be a little confusing to new readers. Like, why is the Swamp Thing bonding with this guy? Because they haven't really steered into the whole Alec Holland thing in a long time. But otherwise, if you know about the Swamp Thing lore, I think the cover is just a little bit more effective. That being said, like I said, now I could be wrong. I didn't really read Swamp Thing New 52, so I could be speaking out of turn here. But before that, I'll admit, look, Swamp Thing and Alec Holland kind of sort of went in their own different directions for a while. So it was something to see in return. This is written almost like a straight-up horror film, this book, or a horror comic, I should say. And I think it works. I do, except for, like a lot of the better Alan Moore stories that everybody loves to point out, it doesn't have a lot to do with Swamp Thing until it's time. Okay, well, look, here's the big monster. Now it's time to take care of him. Let's go. So most of the best parts of this story have nothing to do with Alec Holland or the Swamp Thing. I liked it. That being said, here's a problem with it. I read this about a couple of days ago, and when I'm gearing up to review this book, I got to admit, I was like, okay, wait a second, what happened again? Wait, what happened? And wait, why did that happen again? And I just found myself that while I enjoyed it while I was reading, I didn't remember much about it after I read it. So, look, I'm going to tell you something. I remember liking it as I read it, but I don't remember too much about it, so I'm going to leave it at that, and we're going to move on to the next review, because if I can't, I mean, there you go. Take out of what I just said, that's my review of this book. This turned out to be a bit of something. Morbius Bond of Blood. And I gotta tell you, I do like the cover. It's a good poster cover. It doesn't tell you much of anything about what's going on in the book, though. So that's what a lot of poster covers do, I have to admit. But at least it's a good dynamic look there, right? Written by Ralph Macchio, not the Karate Kid. Drawn by Tom Riley. So this is a very basic story. Morbius promises to watch out for a little girl. And then when this little girl is taken, Morbius goes out searching for revenge. And here's something. You'll hear old farts like myself say, well, they just don't make them like they used to. And for some reason, we'll use that country accent whenever we say that, no matter where we're from. That being said, I guess in order to make them like you used to, you got to get a writer who actually wrote them back in the day we're talking about. Because Ralph Macchio nails it right here, man. This is classic Marvel. This is the kind of book you want to read. There's none of the woke stuff. There's no pretense. There's nothing about, oh, I've got to use my medium to teach a lesson or anything like that beyond the usual stuff. It's absolutely 100% pure entertainment. Take the art how you will. I think it's serviceable. Cover good. Art in the book is, you know that people are people and buildings are buildings, basically. I'm not going to say it's fantastic. I will say it, like I said, it's serviceable. It's there. I know who the characters are just by looking at them, and that's about the best I could say. It's absolutely 100% average. That being said, getting back to the story, this is evil scientists doing evil things to Morbius and to the people around him. And Morbius has to stop the evil scientist. I mean, you don't get more comic booky than that. You don't get more classic than that. And it, like I said before, it's told in the classic style. I highly, if you could find this, I know this is an old thing. I found it on the shelf, but I found out this is an older book. I think it was put out in January. But if you can find this, pick it up. I think you'll have a good time with it. I'm not saying it's going to change your world. I don't think this is going to be taking the place of the Dark Knight or Watchmen in any kind of pantheon on greatest comic books ever. But dang it, more than a lot of comic books on your shelf, you're going to find this one to be a lot of fun and entertaining, and sometimes that's all you can ask for. And sadly, more than you can expect from a lot of modern day new comic books. All right, let's talk about Wonder Woman number 770. First, we talk about the cover, and it's not a very good one. It's cluttered. And look, I get points for letting us know what's happening inside the book, but what we see on the outside is just a cluttered mess. Yeah, they highlight Wonder Woman, but also all the colors and everything is muted, so even though she's lit, she's not standing out. Okay, so she wakes up and she finds she's in Asgard, but wait a second, she's not Norse. What's going on? And they're like, hey, we're fighting and then we're gonna die and we'll go into Valhalla and we'll drink and then we'll come back out and we'll fight. So obviously, in my opinion, this is some sort of hell. But yeah, things play out. But I was also thinking, okay, wait a second, why? So there is a little bit of a mystery. Is it good enough to continue? Will there be a 771? I mean, I am the guy who bought the entire run of Mariko Tamaki's Wonder Woman without actually reading any of it. That wasn't very smart of me, now was it? Or maybe it was because I didn't read it. Point being is just because it was in my pull list, I kept buying it. Good covers, though. Now back on to this one, which I'm actually supposed to be reviewing. Look, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this book. I'm going to say pretty much the same thing I said about Swamp Thing. I do remember this story because I remember I was asking questions. Okay, so what's really going on here? Why is she... Hold on, cop car is going by. So why is she in Norse mythology right now? Why is she not back with her Greek pantheon there? So there is a bit of a mystery that they didn't solve in this issue. I'm looking forward to finding out what it is. So maybe on some level the story does work. I can't really explain it. Okay, wait a second. No, I do. I can explain this. Okay, Wonder Woman number 770 is memorable without being really all that good. Okay, so how do they line up? Obviously, I guess by the reviews you could tell, the Green Lantern was the worst thing I read. That little kid, it just was... They wrote her annoying. Perhaps somebody could do a better job with her, but that's not that right here. Next up, probably, I guess, would have to be the Swamp Thing. It was okay, but it was not memorable. And then because it was memorable, I've got to give it to Wonder Woman. While it was not okay, at least they created something that made me want to find out what was happening next. With Swamp Thing, if I don't read Swamp Thing number 2, I'm not going to feel like I lost out on anything. After that, I guess I'm going to have to go with Morbius. Good, solid, old-fashioned comic book storytelling right there. Good job, Ralph Macchio. And then the best is The Last Ronin. Love it. I love the series so far. I can't wait to see what happens next. I've been buying everything. I've even gotten the second and third printing of number 1. So, yeah. Look for those on eBay, guys. But there you go. That's how I would order things. How about you? Have you read any of these? Let me know in the comments below. What did you think? What do you think I got right? What do you think I got wrong? And how would you line them up if you the ones that you've read? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to click like, share, subscribe, ring the notification bell. You don't want to miss anything. Cool things happen around here. Also, if you don't mind helping out the channel, in the description, there's links to both Patreon and to Ko-Fi. Just go on over, drop $1 in the till. They've got a tip jar in Ko-Fi, so you're not doing a whole monthly thing if you don't want. Also, yeah, I'd like to thank everybody who's already done that. And to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.